Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, bringing you an expanding library of education with even more ways to sharpen your trading skills. Access new online courses, insightful webcasts, articles, engaging videos, and more, all curated just for traders. Plus, guided learning paths with content designed to fit your unique interests. No sifting to find exactly what you need, so you can spend your time learning to trade brilliantly. Learn more at schwab.com/trading.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hey, ghoul friends, it's me, Adrian, or Ayden. Either way, I am still your host, and you are still listening to Susto, the podcast of paranormal folklore from Latin American and Hispanic cultures. I hope everybody is staying cool. It is starting to get very warm. It's been warm, not starting to get. It's been warm. It's officially summer, and I'm in that mode where I'm thinking I need to just do a batch recording of a bunch of episodes so that I don't have to sit in our apartment with the AC and fans, everything off, so that we don't get all that background noise. That, or I find a studio and pay for in-studio recording, because it is hot. It's warm. So I'm gonna brave the heat right now, and that's a me issue. You don't worry about it. That has nothing to do with you. I will take care of it. As always, if you are a best ghoul friend on Patreon, you have the opportunity to watch this video episode, so you can see my lovely, really cool shirt that is from And After That. If you can't see it, it says "Abolish ICE." So I hope that you have been staying cool while you have been using your First Amendment right to say fuck ICE and abolish ICE. A lot has been happening in the world and in the news, and you all already know how I feel. At least I hope so, because I say it often and I say it loud, and I will keep saying it. And especially if you've been following me on social media at Susto Podcast on every platform, we got to keep these conversations going. So hopefully you all are staying cool, you are staying safe, and you are staying vigilant. That feels like a very strong word to use, but there's some wild shit happening right now. So pardon the French, but not really. I'm impassioned, I'm angry, and that's how I'm choosing to express it. And I hope that you are keeping sane. You're finding ways to keep sane, and you're keeping cool, and you're keeping safe. Anyway, I don't know. I came out here with some really strong energy today. It's the heat, you know? It's got me all rattled up. You know, it's not the extreme and horrific violations of human rights. It's the heat. With that being said, I will also say Happy Pride Month. I hope that we are also remembering to celebrate. But again, to bring it all back, remember, Pride Month, or Pride was and is a riot. We must continue to fight and honor those who came before us, those around us currently, and those who will come in the future. So you know what? It's because we're also in Cancer season right now. So I'm really feeling myself. I'm really feeling in my element, that strong water energy, you know, like the waves of the ocean, those currents. I'm just dragging and pulling things around. I'm feeling it, you know? Okay, specifically about Susto, major announcements, or some announcements that I have for you. You may have seen on social media already that we have officially launched the Susto Spellbook Club. So this is a book club for listeners of Susto, for followers of Susto. Huge shout out to my patrons on Discord who helped me develop the idea for this. They actually reached out and said, hey, you know, the last few books I've read have been recommendations for you. Would you ever do a book club? And I said, you know what? One person asked. That's all. You already know me. That's all it takes for me. So the Susto Spellbook Club has officially been launched. I want to encourage you to use the time between now and the beginning of July, which is when we will start the book book to go out and purchase it. We are going to read Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, who you may also have read before. He's written another really popular title called The Only Good Indians and other acclaimed works, of course. But we are going again to be reading Buffalo Hunter Hunter. So the way this is going to work is we will have the whole month to read the book. At the end of the month, I am doing a public Zoom meeting. So for anybody who wants to join, feel free to join on that meeting. We'll have discussions about it. But throughout the month, if you are a Ghoul friend or a best Ghoul friend on Patreon, so that's the middle and the top tiers, then you have access to the book club channel on Discord, which means that you will be able to discuss the book, hopefully spoiler free. We don't want to ruin it for each other, but we'll be able to discuss the book throughout the reading and not just at the end during the Zoom call. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. I have posted it on the Patreon, and of course, we've talked about it on Discord already. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But this is going to be something that you can participate in without being a patron. Of course, there are additional perks if you are signed up at patreon.com/SustoPodcast. Moving forward, so you have a couple days to get that together. If you haven't seen the post on social media, this is your heads up to participate if you'd like to. If not, don't worry. Moving forward, I want to thank Austin Public Library for having me at the Ruiz branch to do a live storytelling session. I've done these events with the public library many times, and I always enjoy them. The crowd that showed up, thank you so much for being there and for being so engaged. It was so much fun. I hope you feel that way, that you had fun. I certainly did, getting to talk with you all and answer questions, and of course, tell scary stories live in person with lights and music and sound effects. So hopefully more events at the library. Definitely, for sure, at least one. I will be at the Austin Public Library, the Ruiz branch, again on October 10th for another of those events. And I will be at the Night Owls Spirit Social on Halloween night. You can follow Night Owl Podcast on Instagram, and I think on their other socials and on their website. They're posting about the event already. I will be posting more about it as we get closer. That's going to be Halloween night. So this is also kind of heads up. If you know anybody, if you are booking for events coming up in the spooky season, this is generally when people start reaching out to me. So take your opportunity, reach out. Let's work something out before I get too busy. Last year was really, really fun. I had several events throughout the month of October, and I would love to do that again. I think I had at least one thing every weekend. So please feel free to reach out to me if you are in the Texas Triangle. So the Houston, San Antonio, Austin area, please reach out to me. And of course, in the Valley, I am always looking for reasons to visit home. And if there's an event going on that somebody wants me at, that's more than enough for me. So again, please reach out, email me, sustopodcast@gmail.com, visit the website, send me a DM on social media, whichever is easiest for you. I will be patiently waiting, and I am excited to get out there this spooky season. It feels like it's so early, but I mean, honestly, this is when it happens every year. You got to start early and get things locked in, right? Okay, let's go ahead and get into today's episode, which is in honor of the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Just a tiny quick thing about it. Jaws was originally released on June 20th, 1975 in a moderate amount of theaters. And after it was a hit, a cult classic, an instant success, it was widely released all across the US and Canada. And I'm not going to lie, although it is propaganda against sharks, not intentionally, right? That's not what they intended. It is still the reason that I am afraid of big open bodies of water. You know, I know sharks are not as dangerous as literal scientists say they are, but it still freaks me out. So again, the Jaws anniversary was, I believe, on the 20th, and Shark Week is actually July 20th. So this whole month right here, this month span is all about sharks, and that is why we have decided to do the story of El Demonio Negro.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
San Felipe in Baja California is the kind of town that always smells like sea salt. Even in the dry heat of the afternoon, you can catch the scent of the sea blowing through the market stalls, mixed with frying oil from the food stands and the sharp sweetness of mango from the fruit carts. It's a place where people take the time to enjoy life. Fishermen lean on dock rails long after their boats are tied up. Kids kick soccer balls between pickup trucks, and the market stall employees treat every customer like a long-time friend. When the sun sets, the lights come on string by string, little white bulbs hanging across yards. Families gather, music plays, and the night feels like it might never end. That night, it was even more alive than usual. It was Lita's birthday, Tomas's youngest daughter, just turned 7. She was wearing a plastic tiara from the corner store and holding a melting ice cream cone in both hands like it was treasure. His wife made Lita's favorite, tamales, and hung papel picado across the patio. Everyone was there. Neighbors, cousins, even the old man from down the road, the one who always said Tomas owed him a beer but never meant it. But Tomas wasn't relaxed, not entirely. He kept checking his watch, glancing toward the shore. His neighbor had come by earlier and said there was a run, a school of dorado passing through, big ones too, and plenty of them. The Americans called them mahi-mahi, and they were always in demand. That kind of opportunity doesn't come often, not this late in the season, and Tomas hadn't had a great month. Engines breaking down, nets getting torn, bait not hitting. The sea hadn't been generous lately. So, when his wife caught him looking toward the shore again, she gave him a tired, understanding smile and nodded. "Go," she said. "Bring something home." Lita pouted. Tomas kissed her forehead and promised to bring her back a goldfish big enough to ride. He didn't know that he would not be able to keep that promise. He set out just after 10. The night was warm, the sky clear. Stars so bright you could see them for miles. His little boat, 20 feet long and made of wood, rocked gently as he headed east toward deeper waters. Everything felt right. He reached the spot around midnight, tossed out his line, and within minutes, tug, 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 he had his first dorado. Bright green and gold, flipping wildly as he pulled it in, then another, and another. For the first time in weeks, he smiled without worry. The cooler filled fast, fat, healthy fish, the kind buyers paid good for. He wiped his brow, cracked a beer, and leaned back against the edge of the boat. The moon hung low. The water was like black silk. A good night. Then, a shift in the water. He didn't notice at first, just thought the fish had moved on. But then, he realized something else. The water had gone still. Not calm. Still. No current, no breeze, not even the hum of distant insects from the shore. Just silence and emptiness. The sonar on his little depth finder was blank. No fish. Nothing. As if the ocean had emptied. Then, the smell hit him. Rotten, metallic, like rust and spoiled meat baking in the sun. But he was miles from the shore. Nothing should have smelled like that this far out. He turned to check his bait cooler. and the boat moved. Not from wind, not from waves, from below. A thud, like something brushing the hull, then a scrape, slow, long, like claws dragging along the underside of the boat. He froze, held his breath, then leaned over the edge with his flashlight. At first, nothing. Then, movement. A shadow, long, wide, moving just beneath the surface. Maybe 20 feet long? No, longer, much bigger. He backed up, grabbed the radio, clicked it. Dead. He hit the radio again and swore. Still nothing, just another part of his boat breaking when he needed it most. Then, Tomas heard it. It started low, almost felt more than heard. A vibration in his bones, like standing too close to a subwoofer. But it was coming from the water. The sea itself was humming. And then the tail rose. A massive tail, black as tar, shot up from the deep and crashed down across the stern of the boat. The whole boat lurched sideways. Supplies spilled into the dark. Tomas was thrown against the side, shoulder cracking against the railing. He looked up and saw the black fin. It rose out of the water like a monolith, jagged, tall as a man, not curved like a great white, not smooth like a whale. This was wrong, primitive, covered in scars. And then he saw an eye, one eye just under the surface, glinting in the moonlight, huge, dark, cold. No curiosity in it, no hunger, just awareness. It watched him, then it vanished. Tomas held still, barely breathing, prayed to every saint he could remember. He waited. 1 minute, then 5. The sea stayed still. No tail, no eye, no shadow, just open water. He eased himself toward the console, hands trembling, slipped his fingers around the key. The engine started. He didn't cheer, didn't smile, just gripped the wheel and steered toward the coast. It was still pitch black, but he could just make out the silhouettes of land far in the distance, at least an hour away at this speed, but it was something. He sped up. The boat began to move, slow at first, then faster. Tomas exhaled, wiped his face, salt water and sweat. He was going to make it. But 20 minutes into his escape, the water changed again. The surface behind him rippled. Once more, not from the wind, something just beneath. He didn't look back at first, didn't want to, but instinct forced him. And there it was, a giant dorsal fin slicing through the moonlight, maybe 50 yards back. No sound, no wake, just following. Tomas gunned the engine. The fin disappeared. He kept going, jaw clenched, pulse hammering in his ears. 10 minutes later, he glanced back again. Nothing. Maybe it had gone. Then something bumped the hull. Soft at first, then again, this time on the other side. Thunk. Like something massive was nudging him, toying with him. Then the engine sputtered. He hit the gas again. The motor screamed, then stopped. Dead. No smoke, no backfire. Just gone. Tomas stared down, wide-eyed, then dropped to check the outboard. Everything looked fine, but they were dead in the water. And then he heard it. That hum again. Closer now. Deeper. Bone-chilling, as if it was coming from inside him. He looked over the edge and saw bubbles rising fast. Then, bam! The tail struck again, this time from the front. The boat pitched backwards. Tomas slipped, hit his ribs, and caught himself just before falling overboard. Another strike. This one not from below, but beside, like it was circling, taking its time, playing. He grabbed a flare, his only one, and fired it into the air. The red light flickered on the surface, revealing a shape. The animal just beneath the waterline, 60 feet long, maybe more. Not like anything he'd seen before. Something older, something monstrous. Tomas backed away from the edge. He whispered to the sea, "Please, no." The water calmed, too calm. Then the boat lifted up. Tomas screamed, grabbing the rail as the stern rose beneath him, like something was lifting the entire vessel from underneath. He didn't have time to pray. The boat hung for a heartbeat, then the ocean let go. The boat shattered as it slammed back down, hull split in two. Tomas hit the water hard, gasped, choked, kicked upward through floating debris and blood. Somehow he surfaced. Somehow he clung to a half-sunken plank and drifted into the dead calm. The sea swallowed everything else, and Tomas blacked out. He was found the next morning by the Navy patrol, alone, half frozen, eyes wide, lips cracked. He wouldn't speak at first, wouldn't eat, just stared out at the horizon. When they got him into the clinic, they found the marks on his back, a semicircle of wounds, each 4 inches wide, as if something very large had started to bite him, but changed its mind. Tomas never fished again. He moved inland, bought a repair shop. He doesn't talk about the sea, doesn't talk about that night, but others have seen the same thing, shadows beneath their boats, water going still, that low hum from the depths, and every few years, a boat never makes it back.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Welcome back, Ghoul friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Again, we deeply appreciate it. And by we, I mean myself and, of course, our resident ghostwriter and research assistant, Jeffrey Doyle. So we're going to go through the sources that we have prepared for you today. The first one that we have here is from a website called Nature World News, and it's natureworldnews.com. This entry is called El Demonio Negro. What is the black demon shark of Cortez? And, of course, all the direct links to these sources will be in the Susto Google Docs on patreon.com/SustoPodcast. But once more, this is Nature World News, and this was published in 2023 by a Luis Franco. And just to give you a direct kind of, not report, but a collection or kind of what the general understanding of what El Demonio Negro is. This is a source we wanted to include because the story of Tomas and being out in the boat, that is, of course, something fictional. It's an original that Jeff and I wrote. And this says, El Demonio Negro, a Spanish term used to describe a giant, fearsome shark, is stalking the waters off Baja California in Mexico, prompting years of speculations, concerns, and curiosity not only amongst locals, but also internationally. Responsible for the alleged deaths of hundreds of whales and attacks on boats, the legendary animal dubbed as the Black Demon Shark of Cortez is still yet to be confirmed. So this is one of those things that's it's very urban legendy. And you know what? I'm gonna figure this out right now. What is an urban legend, right? A humorous or horrific story or piece of information circulated as though true, especially one purporting to involve someone vaguely related or known to the teller. I think this would qualify as urban legend as compared to folklore or general kind of ghost story, because there are people saying that they have had run-ins or they know someone that knows someone. It's one of those, but this feels very also obviously related to one region. So definitely this is like the urban legend realm of things. This continues: despite the uncertainty, anecdotal evidence or eyewitness accounts of the giant black shark has been recorded in several reports and documentaries. Although differing perspectives, so of course there's that idea of it being an urban legend. Although differing perspectives are provided, there is a resounding and common theme the accounts are implying. The black demon, or El Demonio Negro as it's called in this region, has a size of up to 60 feet in length and similar to a school bus. Ew, terrifying. Again, it's an urban legend. It's probably not real, right? But we know more about space than we do about the ocean, our ocean floors. So this freaks me out. This continues. With this, the predatory shark is often compared by many to the now extinct megalodon, or Autodus megalodon, which is like the scientific name. Others think it is a new yet unknown species, or is just a large great white shark. Regardless, El Demonio Negro has struck fear to the minds of people, with some claiming that it could exist and is scarier than the megalodon. The oceans cover, this is the part that really gets me. This is the creepy part. The oceans cover 70% of Earth's surface, and humans have only explored 5% of the ocean floor. A gradual exploration process that has stalled for a long time due to the dangers and depth of the oceans. In this context, marine scientists have not identified and described all sea creatures out there. What is down there? It is for this reason that the existence of some unknown species like the black demon of Cortez is possible. Again, that really weirds me out. Okay, there's a really cool picture here on this website of a giant fin with these kayakers. That is scary. This continues long before photoshopped images and videos were uploaded online. Tales of the black demon of Cortez are passed around locally in Mexico. Stories alone of the gargantuan beast have been terrorizing both fishermen and tourists alike for several generations, according to the Shark Week program of the Discovery Channel. So El Demonio Negro, they know who they are. They know this shark. This shark is well known. Shark is famous, has been featured on Shark Week and other shark related programs. And this says, in this one episode entitled Mega Jaws, the Discovery Channel covered the purported claims where it interviewed several local fishermen who have allegedly seen the quote demon shark. However, investigations revealed that the animal could potentially be a whale shark or any other known animal species like a manta ray or great white shark. And then this gives like the core details of what this thing is. It says the legend originated from local people who reported having seen a large black shark in the Sea of Cortez, also called the Gulf of California, off the coast of Mexico, claiming its jaws are wide enough to swallow a whale as a whole, according to the website AZ Animals. So, shark in Mexico, and not again. The idea, like, I'm trying to comprehend the size of this thing. This says about 60 feet long, so the length of a school bus. The length of a school bus. A shark the length of a school bus. And I think somewhere else they say that El Demonio Negro is equivalent in weight to several elephants. I think it said 6 elephants. This thing is huge. Ew. And again, the reason they call it El Demonio Negro and why people say it may be a whale shark or maybe a white shark is because it's similar in size. Whale sharks get pretty big. Great whites get pretty big. I think the average is like 20 to 30 feet. Again, this thing is much bigger, but one distinctive feature about El Demonio Negro is that its skin, or do fish have skin? Sharks don't have scales. I don't know. I'm going to say skin. Its skin is black. It's dark. And its eyes are dark. But I mean, all sharks' eyes are black too. But anyway, so it's black in color. And that's why people think it is its own thing. And then we're going to talk more about the pigment or the melanin later in these other sources. It does come up. This continues. It says, the attribution of El Demonio Negro of Cortez with the megalodon is hard to prove since the ancient shark went extinct around 2.6 million years ago. So the megalodon has been long gone. That rhyme was beautiful. In which research is blamed due to food competition with great white sharks that we see today. So basically, the megalodons went extinct because they just didn't have a sustainable diet, or they just weren't able to sustain their eating habits with other predators in the ocean. This continues. According to the National History Museum, the megalodon can grow between 15 to 18 meters or 49 to 59 feet in length, which is 3 times longer than the biggest recorded great white shark. So again, great white, biggest size is going to be like, what, 20 feet? The museum added that the size of the megalodon is comparable to today's largest whale sharks. Okay, so great whites, and then in terms of size, it's great whites, whale sharks, and then megalodon or el Demonio Negro, if it was a real thing, which I'm praying to God it's not, because I don't want to get in the water. This next source is from MexicoUnexplained.com. It's titled The Black Demon, Gigantic Shark of Mexico. And this one takes a different approach of how we discover El Demonio Negro. This is really interesting. This says, and I'm sorry, this was published in 2018 by Robert Beto, and this says it was a cold winter day in London. The year was 1564. English sea merchant John Hawkins had recently returned from a successful trading voyage that took him from the West African coast to the Spanish colonies of the Caribbean and South America. Hawkins made a considerable amount of money for his London investors, and on that winter day in 1564, he knelt before his queen, a dour Elizabeth I, who granted him a 700-ton ship to continue trade exploits. This says a few more things, and then it picks up here. It says, in 1567, Hawkins embarked on his third voyage, which took him from West Africa to the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula and to the Spanish settlements in the modern-day Mexican state of Veracruz. While in the waters around the Yucatan, Hawkins and his crew encountered a large flesh-eating fish they had never seen before. When Hawkins asked the locals the name of this strange aquatic beast, an indigenous Maya person replied Xoc, or XOC, which was the name for the gigantic fish in the Yucatec Maya language. When Hawkins and his crew returned to England in 1569, the seafaring Englishmen added a new word to the ever-growing lexicon, shark. So it went from shock to shark. The word used to describe a creature not seen in the waters around Great Britain would be the only word in the English language with its origins in a Maya dialect. Few English speakers know of the very Mexican roots of the word shark or how it entered everyday English. So sharks are Mexican, essentially, is what I'm hearing. My people. I'm kidding. But this was really cool. I never knew this history before. So again, it was XOC or shock. And then, they of course changed it to shark for whatever reason. This continues. While many varieties of sharks exist in both Pacific and Caribbean waters around Mexico, on the opposite end of the country from the first English encounters with sharks exists a tale of terror, which has only garnered attention recently. In the waters of the Gulf of California, also known as the Sea of Cortez, between the Baja Peninsula and the state of Sonora, a gigantic dark creature is said to lurk. For generations, fishermen have told tales of El Demonio Negro, or in English, the Black Demon, a massive, aggressive shark that overturns boats, attacks whales, and swallows sea lions in a single bite. Is this just a big fish story, or could a previously unknown species of gigantic shark exist in the cold depths of the Sea of Cortez? Am I saying species weird? I feel like species. I feel like I'm trying to hit that C real fancy. I don't know. But anyway, so this sentence here chilled me a bit. It says, a massive, aggressive shark that overturns boats, attacks whales, and swallows sea lions in a single bite. This is giving that it's an intelligent creature. And as we mentioned in the story, because of the influence of these sources, it is intelligent. It likes to play with its food like killer whales. And that freaks me out because it's aggressive and intelligent. That's very scary. Kind of keeping that in mind as a terrifying thing. Also, this next part freaks me out. It says, of the over 400 types of sharks on Earth, only 10 pose a danger to humans. That's still, I don't know. They say it's only 10, but I don't know. It's only 10 right now until an 11th poses danger to people. But I did not know that there were over 400 types of sharks on Earth. As I wonder how many there are on the moon. Just kidding. That was a terrible joke. It says, as an apex predator, sharks tend to generate a great deal of fear, even though shark attacks on people are very rare. In 2012, a 20-foot long, 2,000-pound great white shark was killed in the Sea of Cortez near the coastal city of Guaymas and was one of the largest great whites ever seen off the Mexican coast. This is also making me think of that scene in The Craft when they invoke, or when they call the coroners and they invoke Menon. It's on the beach, and then the next morning they wake up and she's like, these are my gifts, and it's all the sharks. That scene always made me sad. I felt bad for the sharks. Although I'm scared of them, it's like a respect thing, you know, when people are shocked that they are attacked by an animal in the wilderness. My first thought is, obviously, I'm empathetic to them. It's terrible. It shouldn't happen. But I'm also thinking, you're in their house. You broke into their house and you're just having fun in their home. So I don't know. It's not that I don't feel bad for people. It's just that I'm not super surprised. Like, yeah, of course, water is wet. If you go swim around these wild animals, there's no telling exactly what they will do. And that's for any wild animal, like bears in the forest too. But I'm getting off track. Anyway, this continues. Later in this piece, it says, some cryptozoologists, or those who research and describe legendary creatures, claim that the gigantic black shark of Mexico may be a megalodon, a species of large prehistoric sharks that lived in the oceans from 23 million to 2.6 million years ago. So somehow a couple or one may have survived and is still living on. It says the megalodon had 7-inch long teeth and a bite force between 24,000 to 40,000 pounds, more than 3 times that of a T-Rex. So this thing was stronger, or at least its bite force was stronger than a T-Rex. The average length of a megalodon was about 35 feet. The black demon fits the megalodon description pretty well, although some accounts by fishermen say the Mexican shark may be even bigger than the megalodon. So they're saying megalodon average size was about 35 feet, but remember earlier, the other source said they could get up to 59, 60 feet. And now this is saying El Demonio Negro may be even bigger than a megalodon. That's wild. This continues. Mexican paleontologist Roberto Diaz Cibaja and his blog Paleos, the History of Life on Earth, gives an explanation as to what happened to the gigantic prehistoric fish, translated from Spanish. This says, quote, Megalodon became extinct, and we were talking about this earlier, the food sustainability. This says, Megalodon became extinct before the Pleistocene began, when environmental changes caused by alterations in the circulation of marine currents cooled the world. In this new world, the megalodon food sources began to become scarce. Some went extinct and others packed their bags and they moved to the coldest waters away from the shark, that, when unable to adapt, perished. So more technically, that is what happened. According to an actual doctor or scientist, sorry, I was going to say ocean doctor, but that's also wrong. But this paleontologist, this real scientist, broke it down, and they said that when the world's climate, when the currents changed, the megalodon's food sources either went extinct or moved, and the megalodon stayed there, so it didn't have food anymore. This happens when the creatures specialize in the exploitation of one or very few resources. So essentially what I am reading here in my mind is that the megalodon died because they're a picky eater. That's what that sounds like to me. They hyper specialize in the exploitation of one or very, and you know what, for you all who have kids out there, and I'm going to use that for my nibblings and siblings, and next time they're being a picky eater, I'm going to be like, why are you hyper specializing in the exploitation of one or very few resources? Wait a minute. Why? That hits really good, actually. That's it for y'all. Use that one. Thank you, paleontologist Roberto Diaz Cibaja, for that banger. That's amazing. So this continues on. I want to read the last part of, I'm going to skip ahead to the last part of this entry because this was also very interesting. And it's starting to teeter on conspiracy theory a little bit. This says, the internet is full of fringe theories and urban legends. Hey, urban legends, there's that word again. And sometimes these stories and legends intersect. An interesting comment in the comment section of a YouTube video about El Demonio Negro tied the sightings of the gigantic shark with a supposed secret underwater base in the Sea of Cortez. The alleged base was first described by researcher Scott C. Waring after he discovered some anomalies on the ocean floor when looking at Google Maps. And there's a photo here. I'm going to put it up in the video. The 76-mile anomaly, sometimes referred to as a sunken city or alien underwater base by fringe researchers, ironically is located 45 miles off the Baja coast near Lobos Island, the site of Eric Mack's famous sighting and the location of the filming of the Monster Quest show about the black demon shark. So we skipped over this part in this entry. I'm going to go back to it so y'all know who Eric Mack is, because that is important. My bad. But this continues. A possible connection into a supposed secret underwater base brings up a whole host of new theories, which, it seems, are only limited by the imagination. Whether or not this creature exists cannot be determined at this time. For now, Demonio Negro plays into our most primal fear as humans, and as all legends go, the story will only grow and morph with time. So this now is saying there are some theories that intersect, some conspiracy theories and this urban legend of El Demonio Negro that, I don't know, possibly there is some sort of, my mind is going to, people are saying that the government is involved in this, or it's tied to a sunken city or an alien base. So this shark, again, El Demonio Negro, very famous shark, you guys. This really now can just go any direction, right?
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Okay, so jumping back to Eric Mack and his encounter, because there are many, again, it's an urban legend. It's very much, I heard that someone said they saw, or friend of a friend, whatever, it's always that. Eric Mack, I think, is modern day someone who said they had an encounter and who has gone on record to share his encounter. This says, although there have been numerous stories and intergenerational tales of the Demonio Negro shark, there have been no verifiable incidents of actual attacks. No local newspapers have ever carried stories about the creature with verifiable names and dates of purported attacks. The stories say that the shark goes after medium-sized boats and then retreats to the depths of the sea, which can go down to below 10,000 feet in the Gulf of California. Again, what is down there? Half-eaten remnants of whales washed ashore are often cited as evidence of the shark's existence. One eyewitness account often cited in the literature on this creature comes from American sport fisherman Eric Mack, who was sailing off the coast of Baja in July of 2008, close to 10 years ago, when he had his encounter with this gigantic fish. Mack describes it as being around 50 feet long, dark in color, and with an enormous hind flipper. The creature hit and rocked his boat, flipped up its tail, and descended rapidly underwater. Mack never saw this huge fish again, but his story got nods from the locals and caught the attention of the TV series Monster Quest, which dispatched a film crew to the Sea of Cortez to investigate. The crew set up near Lobos Island, about 1/4 of the way down the eastern coast of Baja. After days of investigating and filming, the Monster Quest show came up empty. They broadcast their findings on March 18th, 2009, during their 3rd season on an episode called Mega Jaws. So again, and this is how we got back to that, was because it was, where did they say? They set up base near where those underground anomalies are. So those anomalies appear to be on the ocean floor, and I'm guessing that's why people are saying that the shark has something to do with it, because according to this eyewitness account, the shark just descends, and to the other stories, the shark just goes straight down, assumedly to the ocean floor. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next source. This is from sharkophile.com, and it says Legend of the Black Demon Shark. I really just wanted to bring this one up because it says a lot of the things that we've covered already, but I like this one because if y'all can find it, there was a movie made about this. I feel like I remember watching this, but I'm not quite sure. The movie is called The Black Demon, and it looks like it's available to watch on Paramount right now. I'm not seeing it available anywhere else to watch, just Paramount. But the trailer is on YouTube. It's called The Black Demon. It is from 2023. And I watched the trailer in preparation for this episode, of course. I feel like I've seen this movie before. But again, it's like, it just could be generic shark movie, creature feature kind of horror movie. There's so many out there now. And it doesn't have great reviews. It has a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb and 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, but be your own judge, be your own reviewer. Maybe we'll do this for the next Susto movie night, because again, this shark is famous. I want to be like this shark. It has its own movie. So again, it's from 2023. It's called The Black Demon, and this source, or this article published in 2019, they embedded it in there at the top because, you know, it's extremely relevant. Yeah, this doesn't say too much different from the other sources, but it does reinforce, or it does restate that many cryptozoologists, this has become kind of like a cryptozoologist hotspot, this area of Mexico, or of the ocean at least, because people want to look for it, which I don't know why you would go out looking for that thing. But yeah, people are very interested to try and prove if it's real. It falls into that category of the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot. I feel like it's more believable than those though, because sharks are real. Megalodon sharks were real. This could be one that for some reason is still here for a reason I don't like or enjoy and freaks me out. The next source that we have, this is from paranorms.com. It's titled The Black Demon, Prehistoric Predator or Misidentified Species. That word again, species. Am I saying it wrong? Okay. Species is option 1. I feel like that's coming off with the CH. Species is just with the C. And I feel like I've been saying species with the C instead of species. I don't know why I'm having such a conundrum with this word. Anyway, this was published by Catherine Karkainen, I believe is how that's pronounced, in 2023 under Monsters and Cryptozoology. This says, is the black demon shark real? The black demon shark, or Demonio Negro, is probably not real, since no verifiable proof of the black demon's existence has ever come to light. The creature's true identity may never be fully understood, yet those who insist upon the creature's existence may never be deterred by the theories offered by scientists and skeptics. But are there massive documented sharks in the coastal waters of California and Mexico? Yes. Ew. Here are a few possible theories on real-life encounters with the black demon. So this is explaining away what it may have been. Again, whale shark comes up, and I wanted to talk more about this. This says there is in fact a known shark species that can grow beyond 20 feet, and it just so happens to inhabit the Sea of Cortez. It is known as Rhincodon typus, or the whale shark, a filter-feeding gentle giant that eats tiny shrimp and plankton, a far cry from human flesh. And these, if you can imagine, just to explain to you, these are the ones that they're spotted, so they're a darker color, but they have light spots or dots all over them. They're actually kind of cute too, and they're very gentle. Apparently, they're filter feeders. This says the whale shark is equipped with a large, wide mouth fit for sucking up small organisms through its gill rakers. As alarmingly huge as this behemoth's mouth may be, large animals are not on its menu. Though it usually sports spotted patterns on its skin, the whale shark can be noticeably dark and even black in color under certain lighting conditions. It stands to reason that fishermen making trips out the sea at night could just see a portion of the animal, such as a tail or dorsal fin, and mistake it for belonging to a big, dark, and far more dangerous predatory shark. This is an especially likely scenario considering most people would be rightfully startled to see a large, ambiguous shape in the water, and fear is well known to distort how humans visually perceive their surroundings. That is a great observation. Amped up on adrenaline, an 8-foot long shark could easily become 20 feet or more in length, and a 20-foot shark could perhaps be mistaken for an even greater size. I'm not gonna lie, that would happen to me. I would be scared and I would see a goldfish and I'd be like, there were 100 piranhas in the water trying to kill me. Because it would freak me out. The next one here it says is great white sharks, ranking right behind the whale shark. Great white sharks are the second largest shark species that inhabit the Sea of Cortez. Since reports of the black demon tend to point to a shark that resembles great whites, this could be a potential candidate for the creature's identity. There have been fully documented accounts of large great whites in the region, such as the 2-ton specimen that was hauled onto the shores near Guaymas by fishermen in 2012. I think we mentioned that one already. However, individuals never seem to grow past 20 feet in length. So individual great white sharks, they never seem to get bigger than 20 feet. And shark scientists theorize this is due to constraints on the animal's liver that would keep it from reaching larger dimensions. Thank goodness the universe said, we're going to give you a liver that can only make you this big. Because even then, a 20-foot shark is too big. Sharks should be like a foot in length at most. And then the last one here of the three that it says people may be getting the Demonio Negro confused with is giant manta ray. It says another theory includes the possibility that eyewitnesses are simply seeing Mobula birostris. It's simply the Mobula birostris, or the giant manta ray. These rays can grow up to 30 feet in length, with their wingspans reaching a comparable size. That's huge. Though they look nothing like sharks while viewed in their entirety, a passing glance at a giant manta ray's fin as it glides through the water could easily be mistaken for the tip of a large shark fin or tail. So before we move on to the next source, sorry, I'm all over the place with these. I want to move back to sharkophile.com because I accidentally missed that thing about the melanin that I mentioned. But this goes in hand with people confusing other things with El Demonio Negro. In a section here that says Unraveling the Mystery, it says, one common origin for the myth is that the shark is actually a megalodon, a prehistoric predator that could grow to lengths of up to 60 feet. The biggest flaw with this explanation is that, despite its appearance in pop culture, the megalodon has been extinct for over 2.5 million years, or so they say. That's what they want us to believe. We've seen the underground anomalies on the ocean floor. Anyway, this continues. Another possible explanation is that the shark is actually a hypermelanistic great white that has been able to grow to its fullest adult potential. Although we know now that typically the fullest adult potential is 20 feet because of their livers. We are learning biology today. We are all scientists. However, again, we also know that when people are freaked out, when they're scared, they tend to exaggerate, or they really believe that they saw something that big because the fear is influencing what they're seeing. Anyway, this continues. Hypermelanism is the overabundance of melanin, the opposite of albinism, which can cause animals to have darker skin than usual. The hypermelanism. It causes animals to have darker skin than usual. This condition has been observed in some species of cat sharks and rays, so it may be possible that it could occur with great white sharks, which can reach over 20 feet. So I'm guessing that on average 20 feet, sometimes maybe over. Melanism might also be a factor for whale sharks, which normally have a very distinct skin pattern, again, those dots, being mistaken for the legendary predator. Whale sharks can reach lengths of over 40 feet and often can be seen creating massive waves with their tails at the surface of the water. Whale sharks, however, would not qualify as vicious predators as they are filter feeders, which eat krill and other tiny fish and pose absolutely no threat to humans. Again, we know that whale sharks are cute, sweet, big softies. I would hug one. I would hug a whale shark. I'm not going to lie, because I'm not a shrimp or a krill. But again, if it has that hypermelanism, it can appear much darker. Maybe it makes the spots darker as well, so they're not as contrasted, the pattern of the whale shark skin. Yeah, there's many reasons or many ways that people could confuse an already existing animal that is not the Demonio Negro with the Demonio Negro, or saying it's comparable to a megalodon, right? Which blows my mind that these animals are out there just being big and huge. The next source here is from weirdcalifornia.com, and this one's a shorter entry. This again just kind of goes over what the Demonio Negro is. It talks about Eric Mack and his alleged run-in with the Demonio Negro. And just to get specific about that one more time, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but it says he reported having El Demonio Negro rock his boat, so it ran into him. So you could say that our story, the story of Tomas, was based off of Eric Mack, or inspired by his run-in. It also talks about here the melanism with the whale sharks, the great white sharks. But again, this is just another source that we wanted to include, just because, again, this is Weird California or weirdca.com, the Black Demon. And the final thing that we have here, this is from discovery.com, or the Discovery Channel. And this is talking about, it says, behind the scenes mystery of the Black Demon Shark, or the Demonio Negro. In Mexico, legends swirl around El Demonio Negro, a 50-foot shark that has terrorized fishermen and tourists alike for generations. Is this an undiscovered predator? Forrest Gallant hunts for answers in the most rugged and remote parts of the Baja Peninsula. And then it says stream Mystery of the Black Demon Shark and all things Shark Week on Discovery Plus. So as you can tell here, Mystery of the Black Demon Shark is a TV show on Discovery where this person, Forrest Gallant, is looking for him. And there's pictures of him in this entry that we have here, just out there swimming in the water, in the open ocean water, in this region where they're saying that El Demonio Negro is, just looking for him. This is either one of the most brave or one of the most skeptical or one of the most both of those things persons I have ever seen, because he's out there. And there's really cool pictures. There's a picture here of the whale shark and its spots. There's also a picture of, I'm assuming it is Forrest. Yeah, Forrest next to a large ray. And this thing looks like it's twice his size, like the wingspan. They're honestly really pretty pictures too, but again, terrifying. I don't know how people do this. Just go out there in the open water. But this show was about Forrest looking for Demonio Negro. And again, at the top of this page, it says that Shark Week starts on July 20th, which again, I love that timing, that it's anniversary of Jaws and then Shark Week. Is that intentional? Am I missing something? Welcome back, Wolf Friends. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Susto. Real quick recap of what we have going on for Susto. Again, thank you so much to the Austin Public Library for having me out. I'm looking forward to October's event and to hopefully many more aside from that one, and to all the other events in October that will be happening or throughout spooky season. It doesn't have to just be October. You know, we did one in the summer. We can do events all year round. So if you are looking for events, or if you know anybody booking for spooky themed events, please feel free to reach out to me any way you can. I am always excited to work with people, but definitely for spooky season, we want to reach out as early as possible so that we can lock in dates before I get busy, because I will get busy. Aside from that, we have officially launched Susto's Spellbook Club. So again, we will start the reading at the beginning of July, and then at the end of the month, we will do a public Zoom book discussion that is open to any and everybody. So if you would like to join the book club, just pick up your copy of Buffalo Hunter Hunter and have it read by the end of the month, and we'll do our book club meeting. And of course, if you are a Patreon subscriber, then you will have access to the Spellbook Club Discord channel, where we can have discussions or just kind of talk about the book, or, oh my God, have you read this part yet? Hopefully no spoilers. We will find a way to avoid spoilers, but that Discord channel will be open for discussion throughout the reading, and in addition, of course, to the public discussion at the end of the month. As always, if you have a scary story that you would like to hear on a Letters from the Beyond episode, please visit sustopodcast.com or the link at my link tree. That's linktr.ee/susto, and click the submit a story or a tell me a story button. Send in your story. If you also have, or instead of something written, you just have a photo, video, audio recording, anything, if you've caught EVP, feel free to send it to me and I will post it either in a Letters from the Beyond episode and / or on social media, which is, you already know, at Susto Podcast on every single platform. If you would like to support the show, the easiest way to do so is by, of course, doing this, listening to it. Thank you so much for being here. By encouraging your ghoul friends to listen to the show, by sharing it with them, interacting with the show wherever you are listening. So liking, subscribing, leaving positive ratings and reviews. However, if you would like to support the show in exchange for perks, benefits, and goodies, for example, listening to this episode early and ad-free, and if you are a Best Ghoul Friend video version of the episodes, then you can do so by visiting patreon.com/sustopodcast and explore the tiers and figure out which one works best for you. Thank you so much to this episode's patrons. You are Liza, Sadie, Rachel, Alejandra, Luther, April, Dee, Josette, Sam, Mandy, Jules, Lori, Jeannie, Desiree C, Ashes, Neressa, Rachel, Azucena, Marlene, Chata, Lainey, Desiree A, Carla, Archer, Ricardo, Vanessa, Maritza, Nieves, Manor Mall, Iris, Mar, Flor, Selena, and Nightingale. Thank you all so much. Your support means the underworld to me. I will talk to you in the next episode, and until then, no te asustes. Bye.
Breaking news from the stadium tonight as an anonymous fan foot the bill for 55,000 hot dogs, bringing that sweet tubed meat to everyone in attendance.
Free dogs! Yeah!
55,000 hot dogs? What does that even cost? While the identity of this Frankfurter philanthropist remains anonymous, their all-beefy generosity will go down in history.
The new Mega Millions. More to win means more to give. How you spend it is up to you.
Yeah!
For game odds and details, visit sceducationlottery.com.